Hey everyone, this is Zan, and welcome to turn 46 of our Mekone multiplayer series. So, straight away, I just wanted to point this out because I flashed it last episode, but not this one, but I have also started blood hunting. I know I'm kind of insane trying to get into all of these crazy paths, blood hunting included, but I'm trying to force it with a bunch of scouts, and I will show that soon. But first, let's go talk about our battles. So we see a battle in the Silver Woods with these illusions, no big deal. It's actually against Rus, which, it helps us out that this giant illusionary army attacked in there. Honestly, this might be Tiernanog doing. Maybe. We are the victim of an assassination attempt. So I'm expecting to assassinate Mekone, and he's actually doing it to me with something. Where is he? He got Terminus the Assassin. This, I think, is the Mercenary Assassin. And I think this might work out. I didn't find the exact version that I played the games on, but I found one that's pretty close, especially for some major battles later that I want to show. So I'm going to stick with this version going forward. Unfortunately, the E4 does lose that battle. And now we have some other battles in the Baggerwold. So now Rus is just trying to reclaim their territory. So mostly these are just going to be little unimportant battles, right? Unless you guys really want to see how to counter raid. And the gist of it is you just get the smallest imaginable force because most players will do what I'm doing and just leave one PD. Sometimes they won't. And if they leave a giant PD dump, like 30 PD or something crazy, then you just send something that can kill that easily, like a fire elemental or a thug or something like that. We keep pushing into the caverns. And I'm actually going to go to this to show it because this is pretty cool. I think I mentioned this already, but I just want to highlight how cool this is. In Dominions 5, Rus had these recruitable wizards in caves. And honestly, no one really cared because caves were very sparse in Dominions 5. They were really rare province type, not their own plane like they are here. However, this player, who is such a badass, and I want to keep repeating that, he really inspired me this game. Or they, I don't know. He labbed up every single province in this cave and started cranking out these Rusian wizards, which are good researchers, mind you. And the result is that their research was off the charts. So if you have an early age Rus in your games, don't let them into the cave system. Or else something like this might happen. And so I'm trying to just run through as fast as I can and break this up. If I was smart, I would maybe have one of my scouts running behind and destroying all these labs, because they are useless to me. But if I lose the cave, it might have been useful to have destroyed the labs. Now he has to rebuild them and yada, yada, yada. So that's for next time. Looking at the grand map again, Sarmatia is advancing on Rus from this direction. Tiernanog is coming up from the south, fighting in Kepria. And I am advancing over here. Notice I've got a army here in Operi, and I've got kind of the basic scripts, right? I've got some weapons of sharpness. I have it is on a counter thug who's going to be pretty fatigued out by the end of it, but we'll get there. We have me trying to test out this arrow of the Western Wind, trying to see if the long range of it, the high precision and the damage, if the opponent tries to do a singular super combatant or something, maybe that this kind of like clocks him in the face and interrupts his script, kind of, right? But mostly I'm doing kind of these thunder wards because I'm thinking, okay, Rus is going to have air magic. I'm going to do some flame ward because Rus also has fire magic. And again, my hoplites are badasses. They just kind of need to get protected from the enemy mages, and they will do what they do best on their own. They don't need a lot of help. So I'm just trying to cover their resistances for them. If I make some, sick noises or whatever, I am a little under the weather. So I apologize for that. Anyways, we're going to keep our raiding game strong, and we're going to try to do some deep raids. I was a bit rusty, and I don't tend to recommend raiding in this way. If you are going to raid in a deep fashion like this, you want to try to have your lands kind of chained together. So it's kind of obvious that next turn, Rus is going to move from Baggerwold and attack the green wall. And I think that's why I'm attacking Baggerwold itself right here with Farai, because I want to connect my raid into Chibia and the Copper Canyons, so that way I can trace income from Pepper Plain to Baggerwold, which I'm attacking next turn, to Chibia, to Copper Canyon, and then I get some monetary value from this. That gold just doesn't just disappear into the ether. I get something out of it. Again, and that's assuming he goes into the green wall instead of Pepper Plain. If he goes into the plains, then I hopefully keep the green wall and have the connection that way. So definitely not the best rating on my part because I'm not tracing income out of it. At this point also, I want to note that I see that Ulm is having a hard time with Ermor. I know you can't see due to all these icons. And so I'm kind of looking at this Three Pine Grove province, you know, I wouldn't mind taking it, especially if Ermor is kind of confident that he can take Ulm. And I think that's a good matchup for Ermor too. Astral Fires probably does a number on the low magic resistance Ulmish troops. Anyways, let's take a minute and go to turn 47. Alrighties, welcome back to turn 47. We're continuing to do our arcane probing. I cast Carrier Eagle because now I don't want my mages to get assassinated. So I had these clockwork birds and other items from when I was fighting the Jinn of Ubar, and I might as well get them to my mages. We continue to cast our remotes. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It is what it is. And we have a battle in the Bogger Wold. This is the hoplite, or the polemarch that was standing in place. I'm sending the projection to help him. And he's up against, I think, some Rusian army. Right? Yeah, a bunch of sea trolls. And they're going to come in. We've got, you know, let's see, we've got some regeneration, we've got our fortitude. We have a little bit of resistance to everything except poison. We are lucky. We've got Moss Body, we've got Fire Shield. We have a lot of reinvigoration, enough for his encumbrance. We're enlarged, so we have a lot of hit points. These guys are not necessarily water resistant or cold resistant, so this looks pretty good to me. Actually, you know, thinking about it, because this polemarch was in that province already and I attacked with the projection, I think that actually converted this into a magic phase battle. And that prevented this army of sea trolls from counter-raiding me wherever they were going to go. Because I converted the regular phase battle of this polemarch doing a sneak attack into a magic phase one by introducing the projection. So that's another cool trick, I guess, with Project Self that I actually hadn't realized when I did this. But kind of reviewing it, it's kind of more to the forefront, and that's actually really, really cool. I really like Project Self. It's such shenanigans. So here we have an issue. So I try to assassinate in the fort with my little crypties. I have him geared to the nines. He's got some spider shoes so he can scale the walls. And I'm thinking here I'm going to assassinate. I'm going to assassinate the whatever commander he might have in there. And it's kind of unfortunate that the commander he has in there is actually his idol of sorcery, his pretender that he magic phased in. And this is really bad. And we'll see in a moment why. So right now, you know, the Crypties, this starts happening. He kills, you know, the Huskaro, no problem. But obviously he has no chance against this idol. And it's also unfortunate the idol didn't spend any gems. If the idol had spent gems, or if I had assassinated a different commander, the following battle might go very differently. He takes the wise choice and gets the hell out of Dodge. So this is in... it's not going to tell me which battle this was, but regardless, this is going to be in Operi, where he kind of pings me with the scout. And I'm going to go straight to this battle because I want to show what happens. Right? We have our forces. They're going to get painted with whatever. Maybe I should have had them more back so that my Archons don't get hit by arrows because they have no protection. In the back, he has more sea trolls. So clearly this player, this Rusian player, had a lot of water gems. He has a Hydromancer who is casting Grip of Winter. Ah, shit. I got Mother Russia in Russia. And Bear Meme Distribution Arrow Agency is casting Power of the Spheres. And Rigor Mortis. So, shit. I'm sitting here painting resistances on my dude, thinking I'm going to get hit by evocations. So they've got extra elements. The one I missed was cold resistance, because, you know, typically Early Age Roost does not have water magic, and they definitely do not have death magic. So I just really wasn't expecting Rigor Mortis and Grip of Winter. And look at me, I'm still painting, you know, things. I'm painting group stone skin because I really wasn't expecting this. I done goofed. I goofed really hard, especially back here. Look at this group susceptible to cold. Yeah, he's out for the cold. He's out for the count. So that's super unfortunate. The hoplites are going to power through because the badasses that they are, right? And I'll speed this up as I can. Oh, let me turn on team colored squares. They're going straight to the back because, you know, I had them on attack rear. And maybe if this was a human commander or something, this might work out. But because it's an idol of sorcery, a lot of hit points, it's pierce resistant, and it's going to be casting all sorts of nonsense while they fall asleep. I don't know. It's not looking good for me. These guys on the walls are chilling, right? They have to deal with rigor mortis, but them actually attacking with their ranged weapon doesn't encumber them any, so reinvigoration is on their side. But essentially, yeah, I'm out cold. I'm out cold, and I'm just gonna get swarmed to death. Super unfortunate. I was not planning for this at all because this is not typically something Bruce does. So I'm already like, wow, good thinking out of the box. I did not expect this. I need to now back up and develop a counter to Grip of Winter and Rigor Mortis. And that's okay. I have counters to these. I don't think any of the other battles are fairly relevant. Maybe this one, where we see Chernanog fight Roos. He brings very little magic outside of Bless, whereas I'm sure Roos brings something, right? Let's see what Roos does. I think Chernanog is just blessing their units. Okay. I guess he's just also blessing their units? Oh! Firestorm. Yeah, that'll do a lot of damage to these Tuo warriors with their very, very low protection and lack of fire resistance. And thankfully, Chernanog did not barkskin them, but it's not going to matter because 6 armor-piercing fire damage is definitely enough to hit through the 9 body protection. And so, in the face of these Great Bears, these Tuo warriors have a very limited amount of time. I mean, they're probably going to do great until they just, you know, burn up. So the Rus is just definitely leveraging. This is kind of what I expected. You know, this is the fight that I expected to go into. And I would have won something like this. Super easy. I would have ignored Firestorm because I have, one, most of my units have really high armor, and 2, I painted fire resistance. So this was my expectation. This is what Rus normally does. They do Firestorm and they do Wrathful Skies. A lot of it. And his skin shifters, if you remember, his Bless does have fire and shock resistance, so he is open to do both of those spells. That's in Miskia. In Land's End, I'm just raiding. I think all of these are just little tiny raids. He's trying to throw large elementals at me, and the polemarks are pretty strong. They can take one. They could take 1 or 2 down. So this is the Fortress Battle, and yeah, I just get clapped by the Idol Sorcery and the Hydromancer. Just that fatigue play, man. I wasn't expecting it. And if I had known, obviously I would have done something and not lost 70 hoplites and 5 archons. Like, the gold value I lost here is ridiculous. So it is what it is. We got some events, but they're not important. The main thing is that I got my ass beat over here in O'Perry, and that's super unfortunate. The Throne of Water would be something nice to take away from Roos in the opening stages of the war. You know, the skin shifters aren't known for their defense, but +3 defense is +3 defense, and look, this is where he's getting all his water magic from, or at least a lot of it. So super unfortunate. Boggerwolds, even though I killed this raiding force and maybe they were heading into Pepper Plain, it looks like he had a separate one go into the green wall, and now my raids don't connect, so I'm losing out on 130 gold here and all of these gems that I would be otherwise getting. Land's End, I don't know if I knew there was a lab there or not, but it's super unfortunate. Thanks. As expected over here, though, Ermor has moved on Ulm's fort, so I'm going to go ahead and move into Three Pine Clove, because, I mean, in my head, I was going to capture the fort at Operi and show, this unified front. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Thankfully, I didn't throw everything I had into Operi, and that's kind of one of the things that a lot of players mess up on. They don't hold any units in reserve, and there's a lot of battles, like this one, that are kind of like a gotcha. The opponent does something that if you don't properly respond to, just wipes your whole army. Now, is responding to it difficult? No. But you have to script the response, right? So how am I going to respond to Grip of Winter and Rigor Mortis? Well, our streamer Luck has gifted me with all of these Astral Mages and a decent Astral income. And so one of the things I can do against Rigor Mortis, because now in Dominion 6 it has a magic resistance check against 16, is if I paint Spell Ward or Anti-Magic, my Hoplites will be at 16 magic resistance, and so they can kind of deal with it. I mean, it's still going to be pretty bad, but it's not going to be as overpowering as it was in Dominions 5. I can also cast Relief if I find Nature Mages, and I do have the income. I just need a big Nature Mage to cast Relief. And to counter Grip of Winter, you can either paint Cold Resistance on your dudes, or cast Heat from Hell. If Heat from Hell and Grip of Winter are on the same province, they will cancel themselves out. And so for me, I think it is easier for me to cast Heat from Hell than it is to cast Grip of Winter. And as you see here, I'm going up the enchantment tree. I'm looking for enchantment 6. Enchantment 6, I get Heat from Hell. And there you go, Grip of Winter countered. We're good to go. I think I have Spell Ward already. Yeah, Spell Ward's at enchantment 4, and Anti-Magic's enchantment 7. So I kind of really want to get enchantment 7, but it looks like I have other plans in mind. I think Conjuration 6 is me looking for a mage or some sort, maybe a gnome, to get better sorcerers on my team since I have all these elementalists already with the Archons and E4s. Anyways, let's go ahead and take another move to turn 48. Okay, and now on turn 48, again, I'm throwing all of my gems away into all these remote site searching. I think I'm definitely on something. Due to again, I normally play late age, so this amount of gem income, this success rate with the site searching, like provinces like this, it just drives me off the wall. I can't handle it, clearly. Anyways, I still failed to find some blood slaves. Importantly, I cast Akashic Record. For those who don't know, this is a really overlooked spell, and I think a lot more people should consider casting it. So Akashic Record is in Conjuration 5, Astral 2, so super easy to cast. And all it does is it just gives you the score graphs of a different nation. And that can be useful, right? So I get a little less use out of it because I already see the magic graphs. But now if I come here, I cast it on Rus, and I cast it on Chernanog, because I wanted to see, okay, what are the rest of the stats of myself and Chernanog? Obviously, there's some players that you can, through shrewd diplomacy, you can get all this info anyways, but I'm not that much of a diplomancer. Some people think I am. Sometimes I can be. But I just like having fun with people and talking to them. But I don't like gathering information like this. So, yeah, Roos took a huge hit when I elfed him right here at the beginning. And it looks like he's come back, mostly at Tirnanog's expense. Fort-wise, Tirnanog has plenty of forts, so they definitely should have a huge advantage. Income-wise, we're all kind of the same. Not a big deal. Gem income. It looks like I've caught up to Roos. I've gotten a little bit past them. So this remote site searching is starting to pay off heavily, because remember, I don't have a global. I don't have any global right now, and Roos does. And I'm still, number 1. So all this remote site searching is paying off. Even though I didn't have, I used, it was an investment. It was an investment of gems that I didn't need early to secure the fact that I have them now. Blood income hasn't been great. Research, I've caught up a little bit. Now, these are my normal graphs, right? I've caught up a little bit to Ulm, but I'm still a little bit behind Roos. It wasn't as bad as it was previous, but it's still pretty bad. Dominion-wise, his Dominion is overpowering. Army size-wise, I think he started summoning those bears, those sacred bears that Roos gets, and that has caused a little jump in his graph, right? Anyways, let's take a look now at the battles. I don't think any of them this turn are super crazy. Just a lot of raiding, right? I guess this is the Rusian army, and we can kind of take a look at it, because now this is Rus sitting on Chernonog. So this is what he brought to Chernonog. He brought a bunch of Draconians, a bunch of Great Eagles, and a bunch of Sacred Bears. And I bet you, because you have all these Sacred Bears, that he is going to cast Firestorm. Looks like this is going to be like Poison Ward right here. He's going to cast Firestorm. Maybe these are group bark skins. He's got a gnome. Group stone skin. Okay. Gnomes are so good. And he's got a golem. And this is actually a little side note. One of the things that this player did a lot, and you're noticing here, is he geared all of his mages, or at least a lot of his mages, to the 9s. And I'm not used to seeing this. So it was actually pretty shocking to me. This looks like we're doing Wrathful Skies. We're going to do Storm Power, Wrathful Skies with this guy right here. So I'm not used to seeing this. And I don't know, it was pretty inspiring to me, and I think in my later series, I start gearing up my mages a lot more, imitating this player. And a lot of my play in future games is based on the things I would see this player do. Pretty cool dude. Oh, yeah, I mean, he wins that. More raiding. Yes, just a bunch of raiding. Nothing important. My scout beats his scout because I think his is set to retreat and mine's is set to go fight. We get some sectarian movements, which is awful. And looking at the map, my elfing has been completely nullified by his raiding, which is unfair. But I also can't back up my raids because I don't have an army that can face his army yet. Or more realistically, I can't face the Rigor Mortis Grip of Winter combo yet. Which is kind of awful because now Chernonog is left with his pants down, and I can't really help him despite, Rus is on his capital, which is kind of crazy. But I do not want to risk my hoplites. They are a little bit more difficult to replace, and so I'd rather march out when I'm ready. Sorry, Chernonog. Saramatia also looks like he's just making his slow progress over here. He's being extra safe, but he's generally moving in there. And we'll do one more turn, right? Right? We'll do turn 49. All right, so turn 49, we continue to do our thing. I'm casting a Procession of the Underworld. I'm trying to figure out where can I spend my death gems. So I'm just testing things out. I'm summoning the Lampads. I think I summoned a Behemoth last turn. I'm just, I'm messing around, right? Call of the Winds because I'd probably Patrol Chaff. Some Scorpion Beasts because I think around now I found out that Scorpion Beasts have double armor-piercing attacks and one death poison attack. So I figured, you know what? Why not? Why not have a few of those as kind of counter thugs, right? Oh, Call of the Winds is not Patrol Chaff. It is just an easy way to kill his mages. Yep. So it's kind of the game of cat and mouse, right? You want to counter raid really easily. You send a mage out and do you summon like an elemental or you summon skeletons or something. But if you send a mage out by themselves like that, Call of the Winds is a really good way for another player to kill your mage. Now, you could argue the value of spending 10 gems to do that. I think it's sometimes worth it because your 10 gems usually don't end at the death of the mage that they went over to kill, the province that you took, the income and gems that you secured from it. Those gems, you kept the birds, right? You kept some of them. And maybe you can do it again. Maybe you can go patrol somewhere. There's a few different things. Unfortunately here, I did do a project self, but I failed. And the reason I failed is because he had these Draconians immediately attacking me. So I got Temper Armor, I got Stone Skin, and then suddenly I'm being attacked by a bunch of Draconians. I'm still trying to cast my spells, but it's just too much incoming damage because I didn't get all of my buffs out. Ah, the Phantasmal Weapon repelled the projection. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. So unfortunately, yeah, even though I did that, well, I guess here in this case I lost the birds. But even though I did the projection, apparently I still lost because of the projections coming into the back, which is, it sucks. So here I start assassinating. We kill a Cynocephalian Shaman. We kill a Thunder Priest. We kill a Daughter of the Sun. Do any of these have gear? Yep, that's a lot of fire gems right there. Gone. Let's check the Thunder Priest. What's he up to? Okay, he's got nothing. Okay, he gets shot and killed. Pretty good. Does the Shaman have anything? It's an N2 Shaman, which is kind of good. She's gone. So, Assassins are doing their thing. Pretty good. We lose a Polymarch over here. And we find out that Rus has Garnets. This Rus player is set up to win this game. Like, he is set up. He's got Garnets, he's got all this magic. He's not only surviving a 3 versus 1, he's actually marching out and winning one. So this is scary, and we have a massive battle now in Chernanog. We have the entire army of Chernanog, every mage that they've got. And if they don't have a way to paint fire resistance or lightning resistance, then all of this means nothing. Wailing Winds, though. Wailing Winds is pretty tough. Owl, Rigor Mortis, and Firestorm. Yep. Alright, let's sit back and see what happens. Chernanog is on a timer because he does not have fire resistance. There's Wrathful Skies now. And it's kind of like Wailing Winds is not really doing anything, even though it's ridiculously powerful, because everything in the Rusian army is berserk. Even their thugs are berserk. Even the birds have gone berserk. There's a growing fury, and Firestorm is triggering it on everybody. So Wailing Winds got just perfectly countered. Super unfortunate. Yep, and the regenerating bears. I guess that's what they were doing. It wasn't, well, there was some poison resistance, but it looks like a lot of it is just group regeneration on these really tanky bears. And the glorious Chernanog army is gone because unfortunately, they're doing this glamorous sorcery magic, but the elements of Rus are just too immediately powerful for them. And so reviewing the logs, I mean, they had some blue caps, which is cool. You don't usually see that. You don't usually see earth magic for them. Some Azure Mages, and this might have been his only hope to paint fire resistance with the Azure Mages, but for the shock resistance, Eru, Tirnanog and such, they kind of lost a lot of their air magic. So they don't really have a way to do shock resistance now, which is kind of weird considering the air magic was something they were really, really known for in Dominions 5. So I definitely don't think this is a heavy loss at all for Rus. But definitely you see the effect of that battlefield-wide magic, the Firestorm, the Thunder. 135 Tool Warriors gone. That's Chernanog's back is broken, essentially. I don't think he can recover from that in this game. Unfortunately, I lose another battle now with my Polymarch, attacking here into the Lost Worlds. I discovered a spell, I think it's this battle, that just pissed me off. I thought this spell was kind of BS. You're gonna watch it here. Bam, bam, bam. Blood Poisoning. You don't have a check. It's a Nature 2 spell. And it's just kind of like, hey, you're poisoned now. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Now this guy's gonna come in here. This little water elemental is just gonna come here and beat me up because I'm poisoned to the nines. And if he doesn't beat me up, I'm gonna die to the poison. So this blood poisoning spell, I had a whole fit about because I thought it kind of ruins a lot of traditional raiding. I know Nature 2 is not super rare, but you know what's super common? Nature 1 indie mages, little tribal shamans, and you give them a nature gem, and suddenly they can cast blood poisoning. And, I mean, 16 points of poison, 14 points of poison. Let's say you're raiding with, like, the traditional Vanjarl that has 15 hit points. That's it, just one of these, and your Vanjarl's dead, unless he has to have poison resistance. And not just, like, a little bit of poison resistance. This is 15, he needs a lot. So this spell kind of pissed me off. It's Incinerate, but for poison damage. And it's like a really strong Incinerate. Yeah, it's blood poison is shenanigans. And it's really cheap to learn. It's like an enchantment 5 or something. Or alteration 5, I think. So now he's storming Rus, or he's storming Turnanog. Turnanog counters with a ring of levitation and a lot of earthquakes. Maybe this would have been good in the field. Like early into the fight. Because so like if he did earthquake in the other battle, I'm almost certain most of the elves with their really high defense probably could have dodged it. Whereas maybe some units like this gnome or well, this mage has a lot of defense skill. Oh wow, actually these chewed women do have a lot of defense skill. So never mind. The Thunder Priests, yeah. I think maybe if he would have sallied out, or if he would have had the Oracle in the battle outside, that might have helped. I think the issue was that Rus took over the province defense, and then Tirnanog sallied out, and when you do that, the Oracle can't go with you. So he would have had to have been patrolling beforehand. I don't know. It's definitely tough, and it was a very bad matchup for Tirnanog, which is unfortunate. You know, I was kind of hoping that they'd bloody each other a little bit more. And honestly, Rus did not lose much. That makes things tough. So, before I get into the map, let me just go show blood poisoning right here. Nature level 5, nature 2 required. 30 range, 100 precision, 1 person. Bam, your raider is dead. Your single thung raider is super dead to any wolf tribe shaman with a nature gem. Super dead. And that's kind of a pain in the ass. But hey, I guess that's just the transition to Dominion 6. I didn't know that spell existed. So it'd just be that way. Anyways, I'm not doing much better on my front. I'm trying to assassinate. I'm trying to raid. Some things are going well. Some things are not. But I am definitely on the back foot, which is crazy because, again, Rus is in a 3v1. Not only has he pushed me back, he's taken out Tirnanog, and Sauromatia was on top of TNG last turn, so he also pushed back Sauromatia. So this man is straight up winning a 3v1. Now, obviously, in chat, he is crying his heart out. I mean, it is unfair to be in a 3v1. But, like, I justified the opening of the war as he's in a really strong position. All of us, including, like, Ulm and Ermor and whatever, should be jumping him. And they said I was crazy, but I feel very justified at this point because this guy is just straight up beating our asses by himself and taking almost no losses while doing it, which is insane. He is such a good player, and I learned so much fighting him. And one more thing I had wanted to show. I can't remember what it is, so maybe when I come back to the... maybe in next week's upload, I'll come back and figure out what I had wanted to show you guys. But it's definitely not looking good for us. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Thank you all for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe. Maybe in a comment. Chat with everyone. See you next time.